sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. Altcoins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more solves.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big, big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Welcome back, everybody, to DeltaFi on what appears to be November 17th, 2021. AVAX is mooning. That's all. Have a great day, guys. That was it for today. And no, just seriously, though, that's all that I'm thinking about right now. It was foretold by a rare squiggly that I might turn into an NFT just for myself. I don't care if anyone buys it, but I'm excited. We'll get into that a little bit later. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I want to see that squiggly.
I'm sweaty. You know, I'm like it's just a good day. We've been bullish on AVAX for a while. I mean, it feels like my Solana 2.0 kind of thing. Like, you know, we were pretty bullish on Solana this year. And it's the one that I was like, oh shit. I'm like, that's another L1. It's got some serious juice. I'm going to turn up my lights a bit. Too far. Okay, lights are up a bit. Let me know how the sound goes, guys. Look, Messi has an appointment today, so he couldn't make it, and Dan is going to be on in about 15 minutes. He's racing home to the setup. So we've got a nice, clean setup here on the left. First of all, Bitcoin sitting at bullish throwback, not that worrisome. Interesting how this little bit of price action, no real change, can really shift things. You could feel it in the air earlier this week when price rolled over here. There was this sense of bear market. Look, there's a lot of talk about, I think it's just sitting in people's minds. Let's start here. You know, we'll talk about AVAX today. There's a lot of this kind of quiet fear sitting in people's minds because they lived through, we're going to use the altcoin market cap to discuss this high time frame discussion. You know, they lived through this. After living through some part of this, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling as you get up to what has been typically a pretty strong 4-year cycle market, we're coming into the end of what should be the peak of this cycle. And so you have people looking at this and saying, oh man, here comes this, here comes the 2-year bear. I will say nobody, first of all, knows. Okay, obviously, we don't preface everything with that, but I don't see the same conditions at all this time around. That's what I'll say. I see end of year. I see tax selling potential. I see a ton of people in profit, probably looking to capture that maybe even January 1st, you know, just defer those gains a little bit. There's all kinds of reasons we could ebb and flow through the end of the year, Q1, whatever. But this was ridiculous. This was unhealthy. This was propped up on leverage and retail, immature, inexperienced buyers, leveraging houses. It was insane. 10x new website, no problem. That's not what we're seeing right now. And so and we talk about this a lot on the show, when you get these really unhealthy moves, oftentimes it takes a long time to clean up. And in the case of, 2017, 2018, that's really what we got, right? That was kind of like the fractal of, March 2020, and then we went on to a bull. Not bad for a free hand of the 2017, 2018. So, but we just don't have this. We don't have that. So all that to say, I'm not too worried. I am taking on some stable coins. I had a goal to get to a certain number of stable coins percentage-wise at the end of the year, just, irrelevant of what I think is coming next as a base, so that I can say to myself, never again. But if you asked me, are we going to get a big old bear market? I'd say no, probably not. I think there's a better chance that we're heading into a bit of a paradigm shift. I know it's so like cliche, right? No, new paradigm. But there's a lot of differences now. And I think May, June, July could be the new bear market, where it's just bad quarters. September, shitty month. And we're just going to have this kind of chugging up and to the right on the weekly. I don't know that I see, you'd have to get some pretty big tectonic plates moving in the wrong direction to have, a proper proper washout. But as a trader, as a risk manager, I must acknowledge that I don't know that, and so I'm in enough stables that I could survive this if I needed to. And if you can, put yourself in that position so you don't give a fuck what happens. But those are my opening thoughts today with, some of the fear that seeped into the market weirdly on this like 2-day candle. Not really much to write home about when you zoom out to the daily. That's just the level that we were excited to reclaim a few days ago. So
yeah, it appears to be if we're in a bull market, it's a great level to buy. It's a good.
It's the kind of level you buy in a bull market, yeah. Which is what we're still in. Now I could zoom in and do my thing and say like, oh, we had a failed breakout. Like, where'd the bulls go? And we broke down here. We've got an M-top structure. And like, okay, so this is not on the daily where I rush to buy. But if I'm just like, hey, I'm going to be long and strong on Bitcoin through the 2020s, this is like an area where I DCA.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like I'm long enough on this market through just investments, through vested schedules, through, staking. And I've got some bags, obviously, still balls deep in a lot of the Danny projects, still holding a bunch of AVAX. Like, I've got my exposure. I'm not like, oh no, what if it goes without me? My goal the last few weeks has just been like, let's check my risk as we come up to the end of the year, which always has some degree of tech selling and bullshit. So, yeah, but I think there's this weird like, oh man, get it all in before January because then it's 2-year bear market. And I just think that's wrong thinking. Whether or not it happens or not, it's not how I would approach it at all because of all the differences we just talked about fundamentally, but even just technically. Like, this was a ridiculous parabolic move. When that breaks, look out below. It's a bubble. We're not really, I don't feel like we're in a bubble right now. I think we will be someday. I think we're going to have a big, glorious, gigantic, ridiculous bubble. But the maturity in the market shows on days like today when some things aren't moving, other things are blasting into price discovery. You have a lot of dynamics in the market. Look, this is the squiggly. This is one, I'm proud of this one. I do a lot of squigglies for illustrative purposes. We were very bullish on AVAX through here. The wedge broke down. I said, like still super bullish on this, but I think we're going to have to like unwind through October and this would be an ebb and flow. And I just whipped this up purely freehand, like just as not a joke, but like, let's see maybe. And I just kept it on there because it kind of was following. It's my best work. It's my favorite thing. So I've been looking at it today.
You're a squiggly king.
Well, we'll see. I also don't care about predictions, right? You know that.
Well,
but
you have to.
I think this is interesting. I had fun with this.
You zoom in a little bit on this thing just to. You drew this before the squiggly played out.
Oh yeah. No, I even managed to capture it on a Twitter thread, so that's exciting. You can watch it progress. It's fun. It's just for fun. I actually find it kind of cringe when people just take what was good analysis and turn it into like, look what I called. If you had jumped on what I called, you'd be up 100x. Like, I find that really cringe. I don't do that on Twitter. I just like, it's like a little weird. But man, this squiggly, I can't not. I'm excited about it. I look at it as an analyst, like just as an analyst looking at the markets, you want to start to get a feel for how you see it playing out. And in this case, and I didn't even like, leverage long here and close it here, make $5 million. Like, I didn't do any of that, but feels cool. I'm just going to say that. We're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
So I got to make a new AVAX chart now. I saved this one. I'm going to push it to the side. I'll show my grandkids one day. I'll say, once upon a time, your grandfather was pretty cool. But we're gonna do another AVAX chart. In fact,
you know what? If you had to continue the squiggly here,
well, this is the thing, right? Because you post this for the AVAX fanboys because we're fucking moony today, and I am one of those fanboys. And then everyone's like, oh, what? So like, elephant in the friggin' room. Like, what are you saying? Sell here? Like, this is your TP? This is your? I don't know. For a trade, this was the idea. Yeah, wait for the dip, buy it, and this is where I'm getting take profity. I haven't sold any AVAX today. I looked at it peak, 110. I just, if anything, I just still feel underexposed to it. I feel so good about it long term. Can I ride through these waves along the way up? Probably. I'm not going to sell it if we go down to 96 and say, oh, I wish I sold 105. Like, the bag I have is fairly, long term. If I really want to do something with it, I can sit it on Abracadabra. I can borrow some MIM and go do something else with it while I sit on my AVAX. So I'm not in a rush, but yeah, it's nuked. Okay, let's go do something else. I saved that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
no,
'cause
but overall,
what are we doing here? Yeah, let's get.
I feel like the last couple days, it's been such a negative vibe on. I mean, at least in crypto Twitter land,
It's
such
gross.
a negative
Yeah,
vibe.
I don't fuck with
Listen,
it too much.
Bitcoin pulled back, all-time high. Everyone's jazzed up. We pull back. It's what is it? It's 15% off the highs right now, and yeah, it got a little ugly, and it looked like it was just kind of straight selling, and there was this big Bitfinex whale who was pounding it, and I mean,
that happens in bull markets.
no, it does, but
I was gonna say
there's been a lot of whining, and a lot of alts have pulled back kind of significantly. I mean, there's a lot of alts that got torched.
Yeah.
Like
That's the real pain, right? You'll be like, 5-10% majors, but then it's like an altcoin that a lot of people had went down 40%.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been talking about Arweave for one. I mean, that thing, yeah, it's so.
I want that. That's on my dip list. That's like top of my dip list.
Well, then, and that list should be blinking right now because
how's it doing? Yeah,
it's
actually,
like 40% off its high.
Shit.
Now,
see, I don't see it percentage. Like, numbers wise, that's really nice. I was just looking at
off a high
this.
that was made last week or something. I mean, that's a dip.
Yeah, it's
Right?
a sharp,
I mean,
like fast dip. The kind, yeah.
And
So
the dip's on no volume. Look at, I mean,
maybe I start building my Arweave.
So, that's something like, that's a dip. If you have a big position in that, you're feeling pain. You're like, you're telling me this thing's worth 40% less today than it was the other day, and if you didn't sell any, you feel it.
Well, because it's the nature of it. Like why people sell dips in bull markets, because you look at your balance as it's roaring, and you're saying and then the pullbacks are so significant because the last bit of that move up was so big on your portfolio, usually percentage wise. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it on ICE. Like throw one up for the homies in the chat who traded ICE and just decided to hold to the next wave. Look, there's two ways to look at ICE. I mean, either you think that was the top ever and you're like, oh no, or I mean, it's down a lot. Look at that. And it didn't wait around. Like it went ping and it dropped 67% in like 4 or 5 days. Like, holy shit, it's a stingy one. And I had a large position, percentage wise, trade wise, in like a few different, like in our fund wallet. Like I had a lot. I still have a lot of ICE. I haven't sold any. I think I sold 3% up through this just to feel alive. And then I arrived in Lisbon, literally like right here. And I just wasn't looking at the markets. And then here I'm like, I'm not telling dips. I didn't really plan to trade this. I planned to be here when it's a multi-billion-dollar market cap coin. I think they made like $1 million in fees in the first 10 days. And they kind of slow rolled the PLPs out. So the other way to look at it is like, if you ask me, is this ever going to trade higher than $71? I would say 99% yes. And so I wait. And I don't even look to 71 I'm not getting out. Like I'm looking at more market cap, percentage of market saturated by PLPs. Oh, we got Gunny. Sorry, I hope we didn't leave you there long. Anyways, take it away, Rob. That's how I see ICE. So if you guys are in pain, that's just where I'm at. And maybe our mod can get the naked HD XYZ out of the chat. As tempting as that sounds. That's not what we're doing here.
I mean, it's mixed. It's hard to say like we're about, we're in a bear market. Everyone's fucking pissy moods on Twitter and all this when like you see some coins just beasting, like AVAX, right? All-time highs. There's some stuff that's just, beasting in the face of this. But Bitcoin itself right now, like, I don't know, it's acting weak. It's not getting any real good bounce off these levels. Like, it's still just meandering around 60,000. It doesn't mean that it's not going to continue up, but like, I don't know. It's not giving me the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Danny. Yeah, it's not too sexy. To be honest, Bitcoin's not been that sexy to me all fucking year. I haven't made much trading Bitcoin this year. I think as a settling currency, it's good sometimes. I'm actually settling in USD mostly. It's it's never that sexy, but it drives the market. It is going to drive it. But look, here's the other thing, right? Bitcoin runs too hard. Everyone's like, oh no, like my alt season, and then they're rotating into Bitcoin. Bitcoin has moved sideways since October 20th, and we have seen what is only describable as an alt season. Not like the end of 2017 alt seasons where everything just went 10x. I think there's too many things now. There's too many sectors. It's going to have to rotate. Hot ball of money is not big enough to take on the 18,000 new projects. But we've been in an alt season, and now this pullback is a big pullback on a lot of those alts that just went however many X. I mean, that's part and parcel to that's the show. That's what we do. That's what we play. And this is the best part of a cycle.
Yeah.
So, you got to take your licks. You got to take your pullbacks. Some of them I got out. I made some nice trades. I closed it up. Other ones I'm still riding because I think they're undervalued. But first and foremost, take care of that back end, that stable position. If I've had a good year and it's end of the year, I better believe that I'm locking in like what I need for whatever number of years, like, or months, like whatever your position is. I've hit that. Yeah. So now it's like, fuck, bullish throwback on Bitcoin. I think it could go a little lower. I'm not racing to buy this. I'm not that bullish on Bitcoin as like a ROI percentage wise. Like Can
you zoom in on the Bitcoin chart? AVAX. Would you mind zooming in on the Bitcoin chart just to last a couple
Also,
months?
Gunny, welcome. How's your sound? Let's just test it out before you. Nope. We actually don't have it. That's a good thing we checked. I don't hear it.
Not hearing you, Gunny.
I was going to say, it seems a little quiet in here. But I did hear your keyboard when you first came in, so you are somewhere.
You heard him thumping on that?
I heard the thumper. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, we actually hear Gunny approaching before we see him.
It's like Iron Man.
He's like, yeah. All right. Yeah, what do you like to zoom in on? Like a five minute?
Even just the daily even zoomed in because like I don't know, there's some big wicks the last couple of days. If we manage to close, I'd like to close at the higher end of today's candle, but I mean, they're buying this thing up below.
It's
60.
a bullish. Yeah, no, that's a bullish candle today, certainly. And look, your strong bullish trend. Heavy, high volume throwback to basically the 382. The bullish support on the daily, and you get a bunch of liquidations. I think there was something like 400 million I saw just briefly fly by on Twitter the other day. That's part of the bull. So, lose this level, and we can talk about like a little 3-leg move down, or at least like a harmonic ABCD. But for now, I'm with you. I think if anything is to be done here, it's to add a little more if that's part of my plan.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a little more zoomed in on my daily. I'm just seeing these, this potential tweezer bottom, like on this little pullback, and some long wicks at the bottom. If we can manage to close green today, I'd love to close near. I'd love to close above 61 if we could, but we got 2 hours 40 minutes left to the daily close here. And then I really like that. It shows me that below 60 here, it's not spending much time. They're like, they're buying it up. It's showing demand. It doesn't.
Well, look at the buy volume, right? You've got the biggest candle on this whole down move was the buyback on this like crazy hourly that happened at 5 a.m. local, normal, kind of European. Not European Open, but whatever, midway through the Euro session. And then you've got another strong buy up off a test of those lows. So there's nothing like overtly like toppy about this action here. It looks like just more patient hands picking up impatient bags or over leveraged bags. It's kind of standard stuff. But don't tell that to crypto Twitter. I think everyone's in a rush to put a tap on it. What's that?
I heard Gunny.
Yeah, we got Gunny. How are you, man?
What's up, boys? I'm doing good. Good to be back here.
Yeah.
Been a couple weeks.
It has been. It's been a couple weeks. We had a wild week in Lisbon. All I'm going to say is I tried caviar for the first time. It was delicious, overpriced at best. But
not only was it caviar, we cleaned the restaurant out of the caviar. Yes.
Yeah.
It was actually in full disclosure, it was my first time. I think we can thank Meltem Demirs for
And Bartosz.
Bart. That guy's a wild man. He's just like, oh, the vodka, have some more. I was like, what? I haven't had vodka since I was like 13. Like that. Oh my God. So
I think every day I woke up at like 9:30 the next morning and I got text from him. You ready to do vodka shots?
it was that kind of week, man. It was like a lot of work, but the work was in the form of like dinners and nights out. But it's a weird vibe, right? Because you're out, you're having a good time, but then everyone's like leaning in and it's like, hey, so this like upcoming project, we were thinking about this. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk. Like, it's dope. So it's a good time.
It really feels good to, you spend all this time virtual and just being in person, and everyone's like, it's just this big, it's a community that's just rallying around everyone's got kind of the same reason for being there. And the amount of, the Hacker House was amazing. That Jordan and Bartosz and Chico from Boring Protocol put on, and that like from day 1 to like day 5 was like, by the end the thing was packed, and just so much cool shit happening there, and it was great. That was one of the best conferences I've been to in the 6 years of being in crypto.
It was wild, and I learned a lesson. I was just telling my trainer this morning. He was like, so how was it? And I'm like, I'm still picking up the pieces. Like, I still have a headache today, like in a weird way. I have to learn to like chill like a little bit, like you'll go there and you can go and there's always a party somewhere. There's like 2 or 3 parties every night. And if you want, you can rotate until 6 a.m. every day and no one will even notice you party hard because you're just with different people the whole time. Yeah. So I decided, like, learning from this, I was like, damn, I need to like learn how to like reel myself in at these big events, because you'll die.
Yeah. They're great though, because you realize like it's not even like crypto culture. It's just just my whole business career, like things changed for me, like kind of growing up in my career, knowing full well that like the amount of business that you can do outside of like the office is like exponentially larger than what you actually do in the office.
Yeah.
And
Where's the summit?
It's so important to just, establish good relationships with people and let them know you're an all right guy. And
yeah, no, it was incredible. It was really good to meet everybody. I got to meet Danny. I got to run into all the people I planned to meet. There was no missed messages. Like, for the most part, I think there was 1 or 2 coffees. I was like, oh man, sorry I missed you. But for the most part, it was great. Look, there's an AVAX summit coming up in Barcelona in spring 2022. So that's the next big one on my radar. I told myself yesterday I need to go to whatever their big first conference is, and then they announced it like an hour later. I was like, okay, I guess that's that.
Did you see that Deloitte?
Yeah. Deloitte partnership announcement. Actually, I was just on their page. I saw it pop up, but yeah, Deloitte's kind of big.
Big and conservative.
Oh, is it?
Ooh. Yeah, the big 4, like they don't fuck around really. So
okay, well,
interesting look for sure.
They're messing around. They're messing around with Avalanche. So. Yeah, I think the thing is
coming into crypto that has crossover to the rest of the world it's a really good sign, especially from like, big 4 accounting firms, Fortune 50 companies, things like that. It's a rising tide effect, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember seeing Deloitte on Aeon's kind of network sheet back in Aeon days, like Aeon was a blockchain. I don't think they run it anymore, or at least they've moved on from developing it, but they've been dabbling. I've seen them on a sheet or 2, but I could look at this chart all day. What do you guys think? Should we cook up a new chart here? While you guys chat, I could do that. Some guys were asking.
Where's it trading at? 104.
104. We've just come into some big extension levels, like the whole spring rally just pinged. Look, there's no.
Why doesn't FTX list the spot?
You know why it is? It's the operational costs of running nodes. It's like a lightweight solution to having access to that is just to run perps, because it's all the same code.
No, that makes a lot of sense. But like they'll go through the, most exchanges go through the, I mean, a lot of times what delays exchanges is the fact that they actually have to write to the blockchain.
Yeah.
But AVAX being EVM compatible, like,
that's the thing, right? And then you have BSC. I don't know if their BNB is native. I think it is, but it's probably ERC20 BNB on FTX. But yeah, it's a matter of, it'll come. Obviously, they're super like Solana. Everything SLP is integrated. Maybe that's a strategic play. Yeah, it could be a Sol Maxi thing where they're just like, no, like you want to fast, L1 and you want to trade it on our exchange, go to Solana. But right. I'd like to see it. Like Adam, there's a lot of coins I'd love to have my own of, maybe stake them. And they're not spot on FTX, and I'm off.
It's definitely kept me out of like some AVAX ecosystem stuff. Just I don't know. If it was up on those exchanges, I'd probably be more active with them. Yeah,
what I've learned this year is how to go on chain. I've just been on chain a lot, and I think AVAX helped me a lot with that because of the fee stuff. ETH. Yeah. Even if you have a stack that you can kind of.
Solana did for
yeah,
for me, the same thing.
Yeah, similar kind of vibe, right?
Literally, fuck it's gas. I can't take it.
Yeah, no, it's a little ridiculous. I went there today, made like 3 different moves or trades, and was already sick of it. I was like, okay, that's just like a all-inclusive week in Mexico, or 3 trades on Ethereum.
Yeah, pretty much.
You decide. Or trade on AVAX and travel the world for free all year, every year with the fee differential. I'd have to spend a little more time on AVAX, I think, like to get a new chart but it's trending up. It's trending up so strong. I like seeing this buy volume come up here after the lull. And then as we started to tick up, I said, let's see that buy. I don't know that we'll exceed this, and I don't know that we need to. That was kind of the rush incentives. That was like the big boof. It's going to be interesting. I mean, someday for sure, but during this rally, if we push up higher on lower volume, I would still accept that from a bull perspective, because this was very much, what do you call it? Catalyst driven. But what are you seeing, Rob? You're looking up at your screens. What do you got on your charts today? What's on your mind?
Bottom line, the question in my mind is, it's not a great, like, listen, if you're all in on the AVAX ecosystem and AVAX, like, you're having a fucking great day, great few days. If you are kind of diversified across Bitcoin and a bunch of other stuff, all I'm seeing is really a lot of kind of negativity on Twitter. A lot of bears coming out saying, and they could be the same guys who have been bearish since 30,000, who are really kind of flexing now, and everyone's calling for 53K and lower, and just kind of how bearish things look. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting overly bearish in the least. I'm looking across like my alt USD watch list on TradingView, and it's just a Christmas tree. It's green and red. There's plenty of stuff up 7%, 12%, 4% today, and there's a bunch of alts down 5%, 8%, and more who have been down even really gotten smoked. We've talked the last couple of weeks about THETA for one. That thing's gotten all the air's been taken out of that. We talked about Arweave already. That thing 40% off its high.
Remind me. That's on my dip list, and I just need to and not overthink it. Like, just put in whatever, $50.
Yeah.
Like, just pick some up. Yeah.
So it's these times where like there's some stuff, like I'm looking, is there some stuff that I may have missed and wanted to get into that have pulled back? Like even one we've talked about, Thorchain, RUNE, the symbol.
Serum is breaking my heart.
Serum's another one. That thing is.
I got stopped out of mine, but I was really hoping I was wrong. Like here, this big dip here, I said if it goes below that, I got to take the L, and I did. But it's still going. This hurts. You look at this daily, and it does not look good. Like that's a cliff. That is a cliff that we just fell off. There was a ton of support there. You know, I think arguably you could say there's like some daily support here that we're just kind of like navigating right now. So we are on like multi-month desperate times for CRM. I think if we lose that, we're gonna just live right through here for months.
Good, yeah. It's not. But it's been underperforming like Solana and most. You know, it's not.
It sucks. I had it pegged for like Solana's big number 2. You know, like it would ride with it. It's just not. So that FDV, maybe some of that vesting stuff is coming back to haunt it, or inflation, whatever it is. I don't know. I guess there is a lot of staking rewards, probably starting to unlock and stuff.
But like
that's definitely happening.
Yeah.
But
so
it's a trickle. It's a trickle, but it could be death by paper cuts. I mean, you know, pull up RUNE, you know, Thorchain. That thing traded up way higher on some good volume, and that's sold off on not much stuff here. You know.
Yeah, I got a little trade off on that. You know, we brought it up a few weeks ago. I did actually end up picking some up. I didn't sell this nice little thing, but I did sell it at some kind of gain and in an inefficient trade, but it was a profitable one. And I'm back out of RUNE. I don't know what's going on with this one.
Yeah,
it's
somebody
like a
was asking
pullback,
about it the other day. You think like you know, one interesting thought I had with RUNE. I mean, it's been hacked twice, right?
Yeah, but they really
and the volume after the 2 hacks was incredible. The buyback, yeah.
So like, one thought that I had is if you kind of look at crypto, and
can I get your volume up a little, Gunny? I feel like you're a little quiet. I tried to do it last time, and apparently by the end, somebody said I was not successful.
Is that better?
Yep.
Better.
It's closer, yep. So
when I look at something like RUNE, and I just like step back and look at all of the, you know, crypto as a whole, and if you think of it as being, for the most part, this giant experiment, right? And like all of the traders in it are more or less like a little bit of like kamikaze test pilots, and even things like Olympus and, you know, and Time, and now with like Invictus, these are all so in front of tip of the spear money experiments.
Yeah.
And RUNE in many ways is no different, as Bitcoin was 12 years ago, you know, 10 years ago, and as every coin as it comes out with new concepts is. And like people are willing to test their money, and like over time you get this kind of these pieces of technology need to harden. And so sometimes like getting hacked, as bad as it is in that moment, is a good thing, right? And so I wonder if the fact that it's been hacked twice, and now like has it hardened to the point where does your hack risk go exponentially lower, and can it start performing the way that it needs to perform? And it doesn't mean that the price of the token is going to go up, but like, does it kind of allow the technology of Thorchain and like, you know, what it's supposed to be executing on actually happen at this point, with less worry of being hacked or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, the TLDR really being like, does being hacked strengthen your protocol? Cream would say no.
Should, right?
Like, too soon? Too soon? Cream devs would decidedly say no. I think they're at number 5, and they just basically opted to pay off their victims with Cream, which will be not great for anyone who doesn't want to sell their Cream. That's just, you know, but that's like the one example I can think of where the repeated hacks, and it never really seemed to strengthen it. In RUNE's case, they had an exploit, they had another exploit, and then look at the buy volume, and it hasn't done anything but trend up since. You know, nice fat, higher lows, higher highs. So coming into a higher low here, I think if I was to look at it sitting in a high time frame PCZ, and I think I'm with you. I do think that depending on the dev team and the nature of the technology, you should be strengthened by hacks. And I'm thinking of ICE and Popsicle Finance V1, and you know, we had Danny on here talking about how that impacted him and his resolve going forward, the extra time and attention he spent to detail. Not that I think he was being careless with V1, but it was like, now it's like do or die kind of thing, right? And multiple audits and not rushing anything. Get it right. So yeah, I get the vibe from him that they're very much more resilient to any kind of exploit based on their experience with V1. I imagine RUNE is as well.
Yeah. Another one that I always felt I missed. I missed a big part of the move. I was in it for a little bit, but Phantom.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that in the chat. Big trend line or something.
Yeah,
It's way out of what I've been charting. I think I'm just going to delete this. This is when we started talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, at the L1 season started right here, and it was, I didn't catch it either. I didn't trade this one
Dude,
at
that's
all.
pulling back more.
Crazy.
This is a sick run. Yeah.
That's pulling back more. Where is it at peak to valley?
It's puking. I wouldn't, yeah. This is the kind of chart where like I look all around crypto and I think, is this the one? It's usually not, just like this structure.
If you buy it here, you're gonna be fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
One, two,
is.
three,
So it made
four,
a high.
five, A, B, C. Like that's a full cycle. I'd chill for a bit on FTM.
Made a high at 350. Who knows what, you know, was that all ecosystem fund related stuff? Was it more I don't know.
The other thing you got to look at is the volume, right? This was kind of like, okay, we're going to have an ecosystem fund, next leg up, nice big volume there, and there's been no interest from buyers, and that can be a really good signal as traders, analysts, whatever you want to call yourself in this market. Keep an eye on who's buying and how much they're buying and where they're buying, and right now at this price, there seems to be no one really buying. And so you want to go down, and this is the idea of, I guess, supply and demand. I didn't learn that way, but you'll hear traders saying like, oh, you know, there's demand here and there's supply there. You know, just wait until you see evidence of big buys. And that's where those are the kind of people you want to get long with. I mean, look how well you would have done if you got long with them here, long with them here, right? Long with them here. Well, they gone, baby. And from the looks of it, they're selling. So yeah.
Are they though? Yeah, that's what
I don't know if these guys are, but you know, more are selling than buying.
There's no real volume there on the like.
There's just, yeah, you're right. There's almost just nobody. So it's like a boredom drip.
It's a leak. It's
Test
not
train.
a,
Yeah.
But maybe what Dan and you're talking about is maybe the real dump is going to come with the big red candles where they do puke it here, and that's where you're buying it at $1.50, or you know, wherever.
Yeah,
There's
like 170.
Right, there's no reason to. Yeah. This is my own personal. Like I wouldn't. That's a lower. It's making lower. It's like all the classic things, Colin, that you and I have talked about. They made the lower high. It took out the
midpoint.
That, like,
well, it actually sat below the key level here like for 5 days and then just puked. So it has decided I need to clean up. I need to go find some demand. I need to like unwind.
Exactly. It's got to auction lower to find buyers.
Yeah. And your level, your ultimate level is here. I don't know that, you know, you never start with that in mind. It's almost more like if you find something that happens to already be there, you're like, cool.
No, do you get lucky? But it's really you're not getting out at that second peak. You're trying to time it if you're doing that, as opposed to having some type of evidence that like maybe I need to let it take a breather.
Yeah, I think I mean, you guys know me, like standard kind of like reload zone stuff. It's not even like a pump chaser zone kind of thing where I'm like, ooh, you know, 382, like that's more early on. Like right here was probably one, maybe even right here. Now it's like, let's give this some time to breathe. And the nice thing about that, now I know if somebody's holding this and maybe they bought in late or they're underwater, they're like, well, I don't want to hear that. Well, it just is what it is. And if you're in the wrong position ever, just learn from it.
I don't want to hear it either. I want it to go to infinity.
I want to, I want a bag. And I missed this. So other people, oh, you're just coping because you don't have a bag. I'm like, cool, well, we'll find out. But I'll tell you when I am going to buy. I am absolutely, promise you right now, I will make a bid at like 145, 143. And that's really nice confluence here. Just good old support resistance. Happens to be the 618. Happens to be this fat node of volume. So I'm going to pick that up. It could just, you know, PCZ and go. And I'll miss it. But that's where I'm going to get a little bit greedy right here on FTM.
Another one I think a lot of people are eyeing, and I even in Lisbon, some of the people that I that I listened to. Well, one was Tom from Delphi. He's saying a lot is going on Luna. You know, he was like a lot going on Luna. So that thing's pulled back decently, but
Ooh, let's look at Luna.
probably still looks like similar. It's a little better, but you never know. I mean, it's.
I should have said hi to Do Kwon. I feel bad. I was at a dinner with like a really long table. I got there a little late and I just sat and hung out. Pretty hungover, to be honest. And then somebody got up and left. And then like an hour later, somebody's like, "Oh yeah, you should have checked in with Do Kwon. He was here earlier." I was like, "Damn it!" I found out after. And then of course now a week since, I keep hearing about how he's like the sickest ever, and he's pushing this thing. And I was like, "Oh, this close." Could have said hi.
I went to like a Terra party. It was like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I'd love to say I had a cooler story. Like, hey, I chatted with him and he's super cool and we told funny jokes, but I missed him. Yeah. It's about 2 feet away. Should have said, hey man, I don't have any of your coin, but I wish I did. This thing looks stronger than FTM for sure. Yeah. And I think from what I know of it, the UST model, the sort of burn Luna to generate more of this, I think that to me offhand is a stronger narrative. But it also did the thing, you know, high, slightly lower high, breakdown. So any push up here is like bearish retest until further notice. And again, you know me, like I'm going to be looking at these kind of reload starting there. It's not a whole lot of sunshine and roses today unless you're holding AVAX. I mean, a lot of these just look like they need to come down. But look, it did that a few times here, right? Broke down, just kept going higher. Broke down, kept going higher. Now it's breaking down. Maybe this is why I don't own any Linux. I keep thinking it's going to go flip further. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just it. We don't. You never know. But I'll tell you, I left a couple of conversations in Lisbon saying, you know, I wish I did own more Luna. Yeah. And now, literally from those conversations, it's pulled back. I mean, because I think it was tippy top, right? Like it was right near the top. I mean, it had a 5 handle on it. So. Now
dude, there was a lot of topishness in Lisbon. Like I think there was just a ton of like the biggest. I feel like we were at those dinners just making tops because like everyone was chatting. They're so bullish. Like I'll buy some. Maybe that's naive, but
it coincided with truly the market valuation top of this last. It doesn't mean it's not going to be there next week, but
no, I'm just wondering if that was caused by the big orgy of like energy that was there, because there was a ton of, it wasn't just like some Solana bros. Like there was just a lot of project founders and leads, and then just big investors and VCs there. I think it's how it goes. I mean, I sat with you at dinner and bought the local high on one of those Solana bags. What was it?
Did I show it to you?
No, I think one of you did. SLRS or something.
It was Solrise.
Solrise. Let's take a look at Solrise.
Well, yeah, we met the guys and they're impressive. So I'm like, fuck. I
don't have no problem with it. It was not like a buy. I was trying to get rich on tomorrow. I literally, I think this was us sitting down to dinner on the 8th or 9th. And I was just like, oh yeah, it's all right. I'll pick some up. So that's like, whatever. I was buying it for like a few months at least. And now it's in a zone where I can really add. I was just messing around a bit, but yeah. That's the energy, right?
I don't trade without a reason.
Well, I had the reason was chatting with you guys, right? And if I don't have like a location and in my charts and all that, I was just like, you know what, Rob, I fucking love you, bro. Let's have some more vodka. I'm going to buy some right now. But it was like, it was an amount that it was a trivial amount. It wasn't too crazy.
Vodka
and phone trading.
And tequila, whatever the fuck those things were.
Aping into, I've never sat at a dinner ever where drinks just kept showing up that I didn't order. Like
that got out of control.
I took a picture. I wish I had it here. I'd pull it up on the stream. There was just like at one point near the end of it, there was 7 drinks in front of me. I was like, who's ordering these for me? There was like a coffee drink and like a Red Bull with vodka because I yawned. Some guy's like, get this man a Red Bull and vodka. Like it was funny, but it was.
Let's talk about FTT. Can you pull it up?
Yeah.
I got that chart up right in front of me.
You live on that 5 minute on Binance for that T-Whopper. That guy.
Well,
I can't wait for him to go. I saw your tweet the other day. He's got to run out someday.
It's because I know when it's. Yeah, I'm like that. This looks
look at
like
this. This is savage. Look at this. Like this, nice little triangle we were watching. Little breakout, fake out. No, you don't.
smoke.
Dunk it.
I mean, this could be a trap here. It's a trap. It could.
It's a trap.
It could be, but I don't. I mean, talk about a trap. And I tweeted the other day because the salt from FTT people. And listen, we like Sam.
It was shown hard here. Yeah.
But the thing it's on a beeline to
zero. No,
no,
it's moving hard to zero. No, it's
on fire.
Look, it's at a fat level right now. It's actually at a really fat level. I don't have it on this chart yet, but there it is.
What's the peak to valley here?
Oh, from highs?
Can we get in our magic zones? Is this gonna be one of these things where 42. We're like 80% of the good projects, it's gonna sneak up on us, and like suddenly these things are gonna like sneakily be peak to valley 60%, 65, 70%, and then you're gonna hopefully have some bullets because those are usually good. That down 80% is fucking magic. I'll stand by it till the day I die.
Yeah. Well, that's coming up. That's a ways away. Yeah. We're into the 40 zone. Down 80 gets a little gross. But like we'll see. Like, look, this is the thing, and we've seen it a few times this year where you just ebb and flow through, huge blow off rallies where people like excited. I wouldn't even call this like a blow off top, but as it turns out, it's like, oh, that was the top for now. And then you just get these like consolidating trend down into the reload zone, and however many times you see it, you just have to learn to recognize it, wait for it, and execute on it. And right now we're kind of midway, I think, through a lot of these coins. I'm seeing today the pattern. This is actually the first time all week I've done like a pretty consistent roll through the market. I look at the coins I haven't looked at all this shit. A lot of them are just kind of slowly en route to what I would be like, okay, I'll start looking at the sweet spot. I'll be looking at this, 618. FTT though is at a level right now. It's at a fat level. Tons of support here. Tested a few times. What's up?
From the high? How far?
From the high, it's 41%. And it got shilled hard here. Like there was a lot of influencers who were just like, like Netflix and chill, grab some FTT and go hang out and be rich next month. So there's probably some broken hearts already. And now like this is just getting into like depression and anger zone.
I feel like tokens need to like evolve with some of the economics that have proven out more and more recently, like the Olympus DAO and Time and like Invictus. How how will those evolve, and how will you start seeing tokens utilize some of the the economics that been created from that kind of 3-3 money game?
Is this Invictus?
Yes.
Why don't I own any of this?
Did someone let you know late last night about it?
I distinctly recall asking if I should run out of bed and grab some. I don't remember what you said, but I'm going to blame you if you didn't say yes. I was up in bed and dang it. Shit.
I mean, Rob and I have been talking quite a bit about this like the last couple of days, just about like what element, and RTU and I had a conversation last night about this, like what elements of these very early stage like money games, what are the takeaways from it? Like, is it dynamic rebasing? Is it like the protocol owned liquidity? Like, what elements of it will be applied in the future, and like what are the kind of things that you want to see in projects, tokens in the future, and ecosystems that, like, what components are those that will be valued, that you think like these are inputs that like when you put these into a good ecosystem will be successful,
things just work,
high probability of FA success? Yes.
Well, yeah, and we talked about this last night. I mean, I think Time is such a beautiful case study. First of all, these are my thoughts on this kind of stuff in general. It's like you said, it's a human and financial experiment. Nobody knows how it's going to go. So best to never try to go for it with any one protocol. Live in sort of testing the waters state, and because when you can hit big, and you don't need size, and then you can use that to de-risk some of the ones that just went bust. Spreading out your eggs. That's classic gambling stuff, like sports betting. Bit of my history. Like, you just need that in anything you do. But if we look at time, and we've talked a lot about time on the show. Obviously, it was up 14% at one point today, like 9,200. It's going to rise a lot with AVAX because there's so much AVAX in the treasury. But this is such a beautiful example of protocol-owned liquidity. Shout out to Olympus DAO. They came up with this model where you basically just buy from the treasury new ohm, or in this case time. And I think that's the real strength of it. And what had only recently occurred to me, and I'm assuming that's what Invictus is, some kind of like ohm fork on Solana. It only recently occurred to me that when the treasury owns those LP tokens, they're generating a fuckload of fees. And those fees can be distributed as new time.
You're saying because it's auto stake
to stakers. Yeah. Like a ton of time is being, given to the treasury in the form of fees when people swap, pay that fee in the token you're swapping. And then that's part of what's being distributed. So it's not even just this like money printing Ponzi. It's like a lot of it's recycling right back out from the treasury. So it's a little more than just like the rebase of like thin air.
Right.
And then also,
which is an advancement from like,
yeah. Oh, it's a huge advancement.
Anti-Ampleforth.
Yes, and it's a huge advancement when you think about 2017 with the lack of revenue that was driven by anything, right? It was just these apps, it was these ideas, it was these little whatever, and there was just like, okay, but when revenue, whatever. And so this treasury on Wonderland is up. I looked at it today. It's like 438 million or something. I mean, that's how much capital that team controls, and they're all talking. The talk is to move into a DAO structure. I think proposals just went live on Avalanche like this week as like a thing you can do. And so
yeah, the breakthrough for you, can you be a little more detailed with it? Like just so is that the treasury taking in those LP tokens?
Yes,
because they have such a large piece of it.
Something like 90+% of the liquidity is owned by the protocol.
Which means that they're collecting the fees from being in the liquidity pool. Yeah. And then basically taking those and either compounding them by staying vested, or then also redistributing those back to.
Yeah, and I can't speak like 100% this is how it works, but I'm pretty sure that it's actually like it is all distributed to the new stakers. Like the staking, right. Like I don't think that the protocol can take all of that treasury and just keep like compounding itself. I think it is part of the APY, and that's why you see the APY continually grow. And you say, why does it keep growing? It's like, well, somebody just dumped a bunch of tokens, a bunch of fees were generated. That's my understanding. It's a little bit loose. I'm not quite ready to explain it to a 5-year-old kind of level yet. Like I don't understand it that deeply. I'm not a dev, and every time I ask Danny about it, and even on the stream we talked about it, it's still like a little bit magical to me how it all works. I'll admit that. The treasury is now $629 million. Like imagine that in the terms of like a company, like how powerful that DAO can be.
It's
and now
$130 million in the last like 3 days.
So hundreds of millions in the last few days. The holder list just shot up to like 8,000 new holders in the last 4 days. I mean, it's really exploding in a usage kind of way. Let me see if I can find the holder count. I'm kind of doing a little mental like countdown to 100K. Right now we're at 95,399 addresses. So we're really close. We were at like 86,000 like yesterday, 2 days ago. So it's exploding. TikTok's blown it up. It's cheap. It's affordable. You get 10 cents you can get in. You can buy $15 worth. And I think that's a big reason why it's also driving, and to your question about what's making this stuff successful. But then Danny's getting on. He's talking about the AMA yesterday. I didn't catch it myself, but mentions of, can we buy this? Can the DAO own this? Can it sponsor these events? Can we take some of that treasury and go generate yield with DeFi strategies? And all of that gets turned back into the treasury. Your time token represents ownership, partial ownership of that treasury. Can be cashed at any time. He's teased the idea of getting rid of this 88,000% 88,000. What is it at right now? 88,180% APY. You know, do we get rid of that and just have like a more scarce asset with, you know, 200K kind of max supply? And then that's a share in this massive DAO that's investing in things and sponsoring things and doing DeFi strategies. And it's all, you know, probably starting off benevolent dictator, where if he proposes something, we'll all vote for it because we love him, but eventually just breaking into like a more decentralized governance. I mean, it's exciting. It's a model. And I think the protocol and liquidity is the strongest point of it. But the other thing you need is a really strong base.
Right.
You cannot have this like public frenzy to open these things, I don't think, where you just get guys that are like frothing at the lips to catch the next ohm the next time, and they all race in and they just ape huge size and then they tank it and they make their money. You can't have that. You know, this was seeded very strategically. I was actually just looking through the holders wallets today. Like there's no massive holders. I think the biggest one is like 2%. The rest are like 0.1% and below. And they're holding. You know, like the whales, the early, you know, there's no major like let's just exit and dump. Like there's a strong
which
base.
is ultimately what the systemic risk of the model is.
Yeah,
Everybody
I think it's a bit of a confidence game, right? When you have that kind of APY and that kind of dilution, where it should be dilution, you have a confidence game at play, and so you need, you know, it's very hard. I think Ohm dumped 92% when it first came out. It was an unproven model. It was uncertain times. It was the spring. I think there was a big dump in the market in general. And look at like this thing never did, you know, and this was very much to do with that core, you know, that base holder group. And now the liquidity is so thick, I think you can dump $1 million of this stuff on the market and you're moving at like 1 or 2%. So that is another, going back to the protocol and liquidity. So you know, is this whole conversation about like, oh, you know, buy here, up now, up only? Like, I don't know. I always, you know, big volume yesterday in the heels of the AMA. I think that caught a lot of people's attention with the future plans and the idea that with this kind of size treasury, with the right management through a DAO structure, it's going to be, you know, there's going to be a lot of investment done on the AVAX ecosystem with pre-sales and all those, you know, tokens will be owned by the treasury too.
What is the long-term vision for it? Where do they want it? Like, what is the North Star for it?
I think like a Frog Nation DAO, like that's how I feel is the vision, the mantra, this idea of just like this massive DAO that's investing in exciting things, whether that's GameFi, NFT stuff on AVAX or just investing in the AVAX ecosystem. This is obviously a huge nod to AVAX in the sense that, you know, it's very clearly like the idea is to support that ecosystem. And then, you know, it's kind of multi-chain too. It's on FTM as a wrapped product for some farms on Spirit Swap. But yeah, I think the ultimate vision is to give access to somebody, like, for example, if I can go buy a time token and then have access to all the deal flow that Time and Wonderland's going to be investing in, like that's dope. People don't have that right now. And that could be as simple as that.
Does it live as a money game though? Or is there like, where does the utility come beyond it?
I mean, there's a Frog Pond multi-sig. And so I personally am going to put forward a proposal at some point, and I'm sure, you know, Danny and some others would be like, yeah, like, we should do that. But I'd like to see some of the treasury at some point, you know, when it's like proven that the DAO can manage the money and grow it and all that in other ways other than just APY and LP bonding, whatever. I'd like to see some of this go to the pond, and then the pond, you know, proposals maybe get out there and build a school, like do something really cool, really meaningful for the world. But that's, you know, on the back end of like growth first, because obviously like any shareholder company, people want to see that number go up. But I think we could do some really cool shit. Heart's in the right place. Frog Nation vibe is very much like, let's, you know,
yeah,
all make it. So I think we could do some cool stuff.
I think it's so cool that it's in these early stages of like these money, you know, these, I keep calling them money games. Like there's just this deep layered game theory behind it. And it's like taking what historically has been this kind of sacrilegious term of Ponzi's or confidence games and things like that, which are effectively generally nasty hustles. And like, can you actually turn them into something useful that ends up being good for an ecosystem? And like, I think the answer is that's my personal take. Like, The answer is going to be there's certain elements of it because this is kind of the V1 of it, and we're going to learn how to utilize these in a ecosystem that is providing other utility or another function as like the being part of the base banking layer.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're probably getting at something that I haven't even thought of when you ask, like, what's going to be the utility of that treasury? Like, what do you have in mind when you're asking that? Like, do you have
I don't
ideas?
know. Like, that's what I want to know. Like, is it, how does it develop into something useful beyond the fact of like
Number
it's great,
go up.
everyone's taking a fuckload of money at it right now, right? Like that's
Yeah.
but you're also being rewarded for the risk that you're taking. Like I was saying at the beginning, like you're totally a kamikaze pilot, right? Like this thing could have absolutely failed. It could have been a total rug. Like you put money into it early, you should get the reward that comes with that, right? And there's a high probability that it ends up being like, you know, a rug pull, which happens often. And that's kind of like the unwritten risk that you accept and take when you get into these very early conceptual ecosystems. And, you know, it's like we've seen it start to prove with Olympus. You start, you know, with OHM, and now
You build trust. You build trust.
It's building trust, and then it's trust in the system, and then in the community that's around it, and then it's like, how do you take that and actually apply it to you know, projects or token systems within projects that then are utilizing that as one component, but there's a larger, you know, there's a different larger system or utility at play in that particular token and project.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited in the case, like, as you say, like, how can we take this? Okay, yeah, cool, you built a treasury of $629 million. Like, what can we do with that? And that's kind of the stage we're at right now. And that's the conversations, like, every day, you know, that I check in. It's a lot of like, hey, what about this? You know, what if we did that? And I know one of the devs has just announced on Twitter that he's doing some farming with like low risk farming strategies with part of the treasury on the back, and he published exactly what's going on Twitter. And so there's a lot of this stuff, but again, going back to like, how can we then put that to work? And I think in a growing kind of DAO friendly crypto environment with governance tokens suddenly becoming quite valuable, looking at Curve, CVX, buying votes, owning percentages of networks, this $600 million has a lot of sway now, has a lot of power. And so how can we apply that to something that drives real, utility? I think there's a ton of potential there, and now it's just a matter of moving slow and finding out how to best express that in the market.
Like what you told me last night, and just saying you thought that one of the biggest breakthroughs of this was the protocol on liquidity. Yeah. And like, you very well be right. And then so it's like, I go and think about, well, how does it apply to Hxro Network? How does that, where do we apply it to other ecosystems as those ecosystems come online and scale, that in a way that ends up having a positive effect for that ecosystem's participants? Well, and I think not just like make money in the short term, right? It's like,
I think it's strong for a protocol to own its own liquidity, because you don't want a protocol that's suddenly not liquid because all the LPs decided to move on to greener pastures.
5 LPs got in and for big size early, and each threw $300 million in it, and it looked like it had a good TVL, and they yanked
and
it
they just
because
hot ball of money and they're gone. Right?
Ball of money.
I love the idea of the LPs always going to be there, and that right away is just really good. I think is what, like, love it or hate it, devs and community, like, that's just such a cool concept. And so we're going to start seeing that, I think, in a lot of places, and it's not even going to be an ohm fork anymore. It's just going to be like, could be an industry standard. Like, am I getting that token, like, instead of like maybe a private and public sale, maybe I'm just literally buying the token with, LP somehow. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's just going to become much more standard. I saw a funny tweet the other day. It was just like, okay, guys, no, hear me out. An ohm fork where every 8 hours there's another ohm fork, like, that just spits itself out. Like, it just, I don't know. So we're getting into a bit of a mania with this whole forked concept. I haven't touched any of the other ones. I'm bullish on the concept, but I'm more bullish on knowing the devs and understanding who's behind it. And I think anyone creating it now is more likely cash grabbing than anything else. It's not to say that there isn't some benevolent person out there who's creating one because they think it's cool and they want to do good things with the DAO, but for now, I don't trust it. It feels saturated to me, so I'm not touching any of the new ones, but Invictus sounds cool. I wish I did jump out of bed yesterday and run downstairs when you messaged it to
Yeah, but
me.
it also like
Could have gone
who
the other way.
knows, right?
Yeah, no,
Like
I mean,
you said.
but my point is at this
You know
point,
the
it's
dev-
like,
none
why
of us know
not?
who the devs are, and it could be an absolute friggin'
Yeah, I mean, I could rush in after the stream and say, fuck it, I'll just get a little bit. And then it's like, you know, but the point, I think at this point, and I've learned this, is like at this point in the market, I don't need to make big decisions. Like I could just go punt, you know, buy 1 or 2 coins. Like, especially with this kind of stuff, you buy 1 or 2, stake it, whatever, get your initial back, and like you're just free rolling. And if it turns into something like time, that initial bag, no matter how big it is going to be
big.
magnanimous.
Yes.
So it's good. But yeah, I didn't. I think I might even tonight. I don't know. We'll see how this first dump goes. It's an exciting thing. Rob, I miss you already, man. Let's get in. Well, we're at the first hour. We're at the top of the hour. I do have to help with dinner tonight. Let's get into maybe not final thoughts, but I always like to ask you what you're seeing in the market more specifically. We looked through a few of your thoughts earlier.
Yeah. No, I mean, part of what's really sticking out still is like this whole metaverse money flow and the excitement in all things meta, right? And what is that? It's this NFT world, this gaming world, this world of, I mean, you know, a lot of crypto value creation for the last 3-4 years has been in financial applications more than anything else, right? I mean, DeFi and exchange tokens, and you know, it's all riding this wave of really financial transaction value and activity. And now we've got you know, we've got another area here, which is you know, kind of, I think Axie Infinity opened the eyes of people with this play to earn and with the game, and you know, the NFTs involved, and you know, we're seeing just a lot of activity, a lot of money flow to these meta names.
And we talked, didn't we say this, Dan, when we were talking about the FOMO around Axis? We said, look, by the end of this year, there's going to be 200 of these play to earn games. Don't sweat it. And we're kind of seeing that now. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, I'll tell you from internally, like what we're doing over at my fund. I mean, we're turning away like 10 new play to earn plays a week. Like there's just a lot of fluff right now. We are investing in a bunch of them, but there's a lot apparently that are bouncing off of our inbox because we're just like, no, you guys are literally just copy pasting white papers. So we're getting into like a weird mania, but there's a ton of them out there. We're really bullish on the concept. What are you seeing in the ebb and flow there, Rob?
No, I mean, even like just old names that we used to follow. I mean, we've talked about it here. We looked at the chart a couple weeks ago, Decentraland, Mana, right? Just some of the volatility in that name, like the trading opportunities, even if you're just trading this thing, like it's moving, right?
Rob, I remember
like,
sitting in the coach house with us looking at that when we first started buying it.
Yeah, those space needles, because you could tell like around certain land auctions, people needed the mana tokens to.
This was like in early 2018.
Yeah.
Back here, yeah, these ones.
Yeah, look at those space needles, and I said like,
ding, 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 ding,
you know, like it's gonna happen again, and I've got tweets saying like, there's something here, right? That's not just Barry Silbert putting in those space needles there just to like say, hey, we're here. I mean there's something there, and then
it's like 143% slippage.
Crazy. Dude.
How bad did you want that NFT, bro?
I mean, insane, right? Like you need, and then
really
this thing makes it look like
in 2018 for fuck's sake.
Look at that. That looks like those space needles. Like it makes it like
Yeah. That was a sick. I don't know what happened. Specifically, Mana just went like 500% in a week. It was insane.
Metaverse. I mean, like,
Yeah, but there's a few of them, and none of them did quite the Mana thing on volume like that. This is a pretty high market cap, is it not? I mean, it's probably the leader, arguably. Decentraland, like it's probably the first mover for these, other than Axis, I guess. But
yeah, at this point,
I think this has been around longer than AXS, maybe.
Oh hell yeah, this thing's been around.
It's been 2017.
Yeah,
Man.
like AXS was around quite a bit longer than people remember too. I mean, I don't know if we can find it all the history here, but yeah, it's been around too.
Yeah.
I mean, well, but not as much like late 2020. Never mind. God. I think it goes back further than this. I swear somebody shilled it to me in like 2019, but maybe not.
I think outside of Meta, like I would guess like in the short run, like Decentraland is going to be the place where like you're going to end up seeing like partnerships happen, things like that.
Yeah.
Just because it's Barry Silbert and like it's probably the most commercialized metaverse around, right?
Yeah, Gunny, how about that the VR thing that Tom had us do at the Burning Man party in Lisbon?
Oh man, I love that.
That was my first
2 Oculus Quests literally the minute I got home.
Did you? Yeah, I mean, that was the first.
That's my one regret of the trip is that I wasn't there with you guys. You invited me. I got at a dinner, and then everyone was like, "Come here. We've done this big thing. Like, what the hell do you think you did? You know, what do you mean you're leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll double dip." And then I went, and I never came. I saw the picture of you guys the next day. Oof. Now you're talking about VR. Oh, I feel so bad. I missed that.
It was crazy because he's like, Tom's like, "You got to try this." I'm like, I'm hanging. He's like, "No, you got to go try it." And it was, at first, I'm like, "Whoa!" You kind of like. It's not vertigo, but you're like, you got these big goggles on, and you're very real looking in there. And this particular game I was playing, I had some like automatic weapon that I was, I don't know, being attacked and firing away at stuff, but it was real, and it was like literally took 10 seconds of doing this to where I was like, oh my god.
It's kind of like the beginning of the end of humanity.
It just it tells you,
what are you gonna do when you like people have porn addictions, like the level of porn addiction that's gonna happen in a VR scenario is gonna make it like it's gonna exponentially grow it by a factor of 100. Like
the immersion into it, I thought it was funny.
So
that
immersive, it's crazy.
I don't know if you guys watched the Metaverse keynote from what's his name, Zuckerberg.
I did, and I meant to because someone,
Kyle Samani pumped it up on Twitter. He said, if I watch all these keynotes for the last 10 years, this was by far the most important and best one I've ever seen. So I went and watched like the first half an hour of it. Couldn't pay attention for too long. I don't know, weird, but he talked about like this is about improving lives and getting people more connected. And I was like, bro, when you create something this sick, like a game that cool, we're already seeing it with gaming since like Mario versus like now where you can save games and get into it online, and like people are just going to live in it.
But you're checking out from the physical universe.
Yeah, I've already heard stories.
Your brain will eventually not know the difference. Like it's just.
I mean, I'm kind of
better
like
and better. There's not going to be this like that's the whole key of it. It's like we're all going to live at the intersection of the meta and the physical.
Yeah, or eventually live virtually. I'm one of those like Matrix kind of, Matrix, one of my favorite movies, and like kind of weird like Black Mirror stuff where you're just at some point it's more practical and perhaps only sustainable to live
in a meta
virtually. Like why would you want to
100%.
come back to a physical world where you can go to a place where you maybe like experience time at like 1,000th you live 1,000 years in 10 minutes. Like there's just so much weird shit we haven't even begun to tap into.
It's already happening, right?
Yeah, it's starting to happen, but it's very very, 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 very beta. Like
go look at your
sometimes I just wonder like where are we going to be in like 2,000 years? Some crazy shit, which is not that. I mean, we're getting out there now, but this is the kind of stuff that I smoke a week joint and think about.
Right, like kids. You go look at 4 teenagers sitting around a table together. fuck that. You see 4 adults sitting around a table together. Like, nobody's talking. All everybody's doing is looking at their phones.
Yeah. That's where it started.
You know, like, we all do it.
I hate when I see it. I'm always like, come on, that's gross. But then, like, sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, because you're...
Where's ice trading?
Yeah, I got to respond to this person. Or, yeah, it's like something that's just become like, oh, that's important. I have to do that. I don't play video games anymore that much, weirdly. Actually, my brother hooked me up with a PS5, like the access to one. I bought it. I played it like 6 times. So I am admittedly growing out of video games, but, you know, and I suck at VR, like my stomach and vertigo. I won't live too much in that, but man, if I get a chance to plug into something where it's like upload, like there's a really cool Black Mirror episode where they just go in and there's like a fighting game and you just upload yourself into it. That looks so cool. Yep. It's gonna be really hard to unplug from that shit.
Really hard, and you gotta go deal with the realities of and the frictions of physical life. You know, like
and then you get into all this stuff, right? Like how to, you know, Elon Musk talking about universal basic income because there just won't be jobs for anyone because machines will do everything. Like, so the world's gonna blow a lot of people's minds in the next 100, 200 years. The amount of time,
like 200, agree. This isn't like another 1,000 years. Like, this is going to happen fast.
So here's a cool concept, and we're way off like crypto topic, but I think this is relevant because we're here as futurists. But there was a cool thought experiment. Couldn't tell you where it's from. Couldn't tell you what it was called. But it was the idea of like, if you went to a certain point in time, how far forward in time would you have to go to transport somebody from that previous time to now? That things would be so ridiculous they couldn't cope, they would just like die. So like you go back to like a caveman, you bring them, how far forward do you have to bring somebody, like pre-fire even? How far forward do you have to bring someone in time for them to just like blow their mind that they can't even, you know, 100,000 years at least. But then you go back to like 1800s, 1700s, like how far forward do you have to, you know, pre-industrial revolution, how far forward do you have to bring someone to blow their mind? Just show them a spaceship, you know, they're going to shit their pants, probably have a heart attack and die. Like from here, right today, how far forward in time, that's a couple hundred years, how far forward in time would you have to bring somebody now?
Until Dan shits his pants?
Until you lose it, until you can't even comprehend the pace of change. Maybe it's been 50 years, you know, so it's like 100,000 years, 400 years. I think we're at a place where in the next 50 years, if you just fell asleep today and woke up in 50 years, you may not recognize the world. Like, maybe that's ambitious because social systems will slow down the actual technical progress potential, but it's less than 100 years where I think we would be like, what? Like, I can't even live in this world. I'm too ill-adjusted. It's gonna be interesting. So I want to stay healthy.
It's moving to singularity.
Yeah, singularity is near kind of stuff. Ray Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil is the guy who gets me fired up. Yeah, there he goes. Foo Bear is talking about him in the thing. Ray Kurzweil's singularity, like that's what got me all this. The Transcendent Man is his documentary from 2008. Really good one. I've watched it like 10 times. It's probably way out of date now. I wish he would do an updated one. But he's like head of AI research at Google Labs or whatever it is now. He's been tasked by Google to create the first artificial brain. Anyways.
Ray Kurzweil?
Yeah, Ray Kurzweil. He's the guy who's like, I'm going to live forever.
Building fucking keyboard synthesizers, like.
He started with that. Yeah, he invented all this crazy shit, predicted all this really cool stuff. And he thinks that this is all happening, like singularity's near. Probably, I think his date was like, what, 2029? 2039? I don't know. It was not too far off, where he thinks the pace of change will become so ridiculous that you'll have to merge with intelligent technologies just to exist, just to keep up with everything.
My personal selfish thought is like, you know, if I'm lucky, I get another 50 years, 60 years on this planet. And like anybody that I know that is close to me, I want to know that they're going to have some semblance of a happy physical life before the world gets like too fucked up for humans to deal with. Like,
yeah.
And then I can die happy knowing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Having just had a kid, that's kind of was always my like sense of doom in my 20s was like, God, where are we headed? Like we're headed somewhere fast, up, down, sideways, progress, whatever. Who knows? But I just hope.
Yeah, when you have a kid, your thoughts on that shit.
You start to think.
When you don't have one, all you think about is like where am I eating next? Where am I making money next? Like, how am I getting laid in the next 24 hours? Like,
yeah. So, all right. Well, look, we went off the deep end there. I think the metaverse just took us on a walk down like my old kind of reading hobbies. Pre-crypto, I actually used to read things not crypto related, go figure. And a lot of it was like Singularity, AI, waitbutwhy.org or .com. I don't know. Wait But Why was a really cool site I used to love. So if you guys want to look into more of this kind of stuff, there's some really long-winded, Fermi's paradox, really just cool out there shit. So check that out. Shameless plug. I don't even know if that site's still up. I used to go ham on there late at night on my laptop. Let's get back to the markets for final thoughts, guys. We clearly ran out of charts to look at. I think
someone said KDA, whatever that is.
Which one?
KDA. Who's been asking for that in the chat?
Please chart KDA before y'all leave. Justin Canfield. I know that name. Wasn't it Canfield last year?
I don't think it's
not that one.
This is Jake's cousin, Jake's brother, Jake Canfield.
Jacob Canfield. Yeah, that was the guy's name who's like doctoring all his P&Ls and screenshots.
Not all, just one.
Only one. A very grotesque, like six-figure.
Himself and took it in the fucking.
Could you imagine?
And moved on.
Imagine just like, hey, I did really well in this trade. I'm gonna go and doctor it to make it look better to like put on Twitter. Like, imagine. I can't even fathom like having the time in your day to do that. I just laughed. I mean, it's awkward just because he's charging people money to teach them stuff. But anyways, I'm sure you're not the same Canfield. If you're all related, just ask him why. KDA, Kadena, is that?
Oh yeah, that's
Kadena
the one.
Sounds like a tropical drink that I need to order.
That was hilarious. One of our buddies, they had a bag of this in their fund, and all of a sudden it went bananas, and they're like, "Wait a second, we got a big. Where's our Kadena? We got it somewhere."
Don't we have one of these wallets from like 2017? Yeah,
they did literally, and oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it looks good. It looks good for a few reasons. First of all, the volume is picking up as the price goes up. So if you were looking at it back here, you had a really nice breakout in volume, which is absolutely dwarfed now by whatever the heck's going on here. So it's a very strong, kind of healthy looking uptrend. I think on the most recent high, the volume came off a little bit. So maybe some like cool your jets on new buys for me, but it looks long and strong. It looks really good. The high time frame, fib extension has been exceeded. It's got another one coming up. It just looks like it's flying right now. So trend is your friend, let your winners run, all that kind of stuff. There's no sign of a reversal yet. Looks good. Looks really good. I don't even know how to, when next target. Like even the chaos, all of these bottom kind of chaos levels, everything's been exceeded. So I guess you almost have to like.
Is that a good thing? Well,
it's a good thing in the sense that it's gone crazy. It's mooning.
Yeah,
but it's not like
you put those chaos things on the chart because then it's like, okay, at chaos 1, 2, I'm gonna trim. But
yeah, we're just exceeding them all. And it is just I was on log charts because you can't even look at it without that. But like this thing, oh my god, I didn't realize I was on log. Holy shit.
What's the next one of these?
Oh, I didn't even.
Mana,
pinch it lower, pinch it tighter.
Yeah,
I can't deal otherwise. There you go.
Okay, yeah. Now we can look at this. This was like a whole world of 10x just in this flat zone here.
When did it start? When was this token launched?
This launched in May, right at the peak. Now, that's annoying because you know what? That was my thesis. That was my like May, June thesis. I was thinking like, man, we should look at stuff that just launched at the wrong time, like peak mania, and just let it washed out and like go see if there's like some nice fundamental plays, because everything that launched May, June just completely rinsed. Nothing had a bid if it was a new project there, other than maybe like whatever, like a couple, but 99% of new projects. And here's proof of one. Doubt I would have found it. I had a list of about 40 that we were looking at. I don't think this was on it, so whatever.
How about all the pipe the devs took in that first half where I would love to go
I
back.
love how
and look
you
at
say pipe. It's just a good
the
placement.
recordings.
Good placement of the word.
You either take pipe or you lay pipe.
Yeah.
And the amount of abuse they probably took in that first from May to August was probably horrible, and then now they're like the darlings of their community. Well,
yeah. I mean, look, this is unreal. Let's check a low to high for fun. This is a 68x. This is a 6,800 percent rally. That's very impressive. 31 cents to $22.
That is insane. What can somebody tell me?
What's Cadena
in the
do?
chat? Like, what drove it? Yeah.
Shill us on Cadena at the highs.
Come on, Justice Canfield.
I could see why you'd want to chart it. I mean, look, from here, squish down, you're like, ooh, sick breakout, nice big volume coming in. Like, yeah, it's a whole new world of volume now. You know, check the market cap. Is it 30 million? Because now you have tons of room to grow. But TA wise, it's like if I'm already long, I can take profit and hold and roll with it. But I don't know if I'm buying this.
Hard Rock Nick on TikTok put out.
I suck at buying these things. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Look, everyone wants to come in, and I talk to a lot of people that like they call me, like, oh yeah, you're into crypto. Like I want to get in. I hate that, by the way. Love you guys, but it. It's like people from like long. I had a friend from grade 2. Okay, grade 2. Haven't talked to the guy. If you're listening right now, love you. But like it loads up during the bull, and it you just want to redirect them to like good resources. And I still don't have a de facto like newbie onboarding resource. I still don't have one.
Like an
all-in guide that just tells you from start to finish how to be safe, how to be smart, how to vet, how to stash, how to store and trade on dexes. Like there's no guide. So I need to find a guide or like a little bullet list, because I don't hate that friends reach out. I hate that.
You know what I do? I send them to FTX, and I tell them to lend.
Okay, like I said, I tell them to long on FTX perps.
It's my butt. No, I just like, because it's not even worth getting into the because 9 out of 10 of them are eventually just going to end up long SHIB anyway. So
well, that's what I was going to say. Is that the pattern I'm seeing is that they want to spot the next one, right? Nobody wants to come in and buy your 100x. Nobody wants to come in and buy AVAX or Solana or some of these ones that you're like, yeah, they're way up this year. They're probably not at the most optimal buy zones, but they're going to be around in 5 years, 10 years, the strong ones. People want to find the next gem. And I'm here to tell you, it's extremely hard to do. There's a ton of trash out there, but they're out there. They are out there. You just have to really know how to vet them. I happen to have a friend who is incredibly talented at this. But he'll talk to devs. He understands protocols at like a molecular level, and he looks for these weird ass gems like 50K market cap. He's known
find
for
the things that are.
Yeah, he's our gem hunter. Yeah, he's our gem hunter at the fund, and he's ridiculous. Like he, time and time again, they often don't have the staying power for years, but like he'll find these like 500 market cap, or he once came to us with a 10K market cap. I was like, bro, stop it. Like, come on. He's like, yeah, just put in half an ETH and pump 400%. But like, 6 months later, that thing will be up 200x. And I'm like, oh my God. So you can do it. Cadena was one. Where's the next?
9 Chronicles, man.
The problem is there's just too many of these. And like there's so many in that world of like, Uniswap, whatever. It's very hard for me anyways to like to get the bandwidth to like take in the DM shills that you get from people that are just like, hey, I know you're probably busy, but check out this coin. And I appreciate that. I usually don't. I usually just don't get around to it. And I'm like, I hope they, a lot of them message me months later like, hey, did you get in? I'm like, no, but I hope you crushed it. Like, I'm cool with that. I don't mind missing everything, but
yeah,
there's a lot. And CryptoDog was saying this too. He's like, as the time goes on, you realize you can't keep up to everything on your own. You can be on top of the majors, you can be on top of NFTs, you can be on top of GameFi, but it's not like 2017 where you could kind of do 14-hour days and catch everything. So we come with the squad.
What are we thinking about? What are we thinking about Spell here? It's had.
Yeah, we should look at Spell.
Had this, I guess, a similar chart to ICE, maybe, right? I mean, it really.
It's dipping. It's dipping, and for me, same kind of thing we've seen a lot of today, which is this rally has exhausted. And so we're going to go find buyers. ICE looks a lot more ready to me than Spell. I think Spell, having just lost this level, not entirely comfortable. Like, I'm not adding. I mean, I'm just long and staked. I'm not, I'm not trading it. But 618 gets really exciting for me on a chart like this, on a project like this. If it gets there, I think any one of these lines, becomes like a really sick level. I don't know that it gets to this like too much deeper. But who knows? It's more about like knowing what I'll do when it gets to levels rather than caring or predicting which level it'll get to. But so 618 is my next excitement level. I think, more than anything, I want to see like anything, you want to see that buy volume come back. So you have the big buys, somewhat of a signal here where you went on to make new highs and the buy volume was kind of waning versus the breakout. You want to see new volume to support new highs. So as we get through here, if we do something like that, that's kind of, I guess if I had to guess, that'd be like, and then I'm waiting through consolidations like this for the buy volume to pick up again. And it will. I'm pretty confident in this thing going much, much higher. There's something like...
Right.
And to whoever that, the one guy that gave us the thumbs down, go fuck yourself and don't come back. See ya.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Gunny, going out with the heat.
If you are watching, hit that like button.
Hit the like, guys. We are getting near the end of the show here. I think Spell is destined for glory. Period. There's like I saw Danny tweeting out some stuff today about the fees they've taken in, like $2 million. Is it like a week they're making right now as a protocol, and all that just goes into buying this off the market. So 3 billion MIM going multi-chain. Like I'm not worried about my bags at all. As a trader, I'm being patient here if I want to be a buyer at 1.5.
Yep.
That's it. Or regain this level, and it's let's go. And I'll give you a really good example. I think we are going to wrap here pretty shortly, but let me give you a good example I saw this chart yesterday in bed and I was like, oh, I love TA. This is one of those charts that I just get fired up about TA because like I distinctly recall selling my my AVAX here, like a certain portion of my bag here for Bitcoin, because versus Bitcoin it lost this key level that I decided, I don't want to see it lose this level. I don't want to sit in the wrong one. So I sold a bunch of AVAX for Bitcoin, and my buddy's like, oh, you're not bullish on AVAX? I was like, I am, but only above this level. Regain this level, buy this level. Boom.
Yeah.
And look at it. It's just been crushing. And it's the same thing with Spell, right? I'm bullish, with a reversal down here, or regain this level, buy this level. And I think we could see something very similar to that, where you lose it, you drip sideways, you bore everybody to death, and then you take off. And what was the one? Oh, Key. Key recently bored everyone to death. Got listed on Binance. Whoops, that's not the one. We need to do it on Trader Joe. Look at this. This is a great example of boring everyone to death before you go do what you're going to do. Right? So came out really hot, dripped down into the reload zone, and then bored everyone to death. If you're bored, if you're trying to catch whatever, you're not going to stick around. And then as soon as everybody's out, bing, and then the Binance listing, and looks like it's going to launch into an uptrend here. So
someone's asking about METIS, METIS. Tom Walsh, I see
METIS.
You in there. I don't know this one.
Pancake swap, Uniswap, 109, 102. Volumes higher on Uniswap. Oh yeah.
Look at the wicks on that shit. Jesus.
This is Uniswap stuff. Yeah, this is when you get like API data. You get a lot of that, but
yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, this is just big buys, right? So it's kind of like your Space Needle stuff. It is accumulation, and then a lot of big sells right back. So there's a lot of like that stupid sandwich bots too, where you just get the big buy, big sell, big buy, big sell. So it's gross, but
yeah. How
so
about
it's good?
We had a couple requests for Solana. I don't think we've.
It's a rare day.
Solana.
It's a rare day. We had
pulled back at least about 20% from its high.
So it's doing the same thing as FTM and Luna, like all that kind of like high, lower high breakdown. It's interesting to me. I hadn't really looked at all these L1s. Like I can't believe what I'm seeing with AVAX comparatively. I would have thought it's a bit of a season, but looks like, I mean, all
Depends.
other
It could
things
just
aside, you don't want to
be a
see this.
natural. Yeah.
You don't want to see this on a chart when, you know, when you just got long. I mean, I like seeing this on a chart like Solana because it just means that I can get into a new trade some point, typically a long trade on some asset like this. But yeah, not ready yet. Just confirmed bearish market structure yesterday. So I'd say same kind of thing, like get back into a bull quickly. And then I was like, oops, didn't buy the dip. Who cares? Get the next trade. Or like wait for it to get into a proper, and that's what we did here. You know, that's what we did here. We had a really nice long consolidation through what was a higher time frame PCZ, and then it took off. So now I think it's like, we'll do that again. At least that's the trade I would watch for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm a little disappointed. I was kind of hoping Solana Eco would go a little crazier. I think my SBR bag is underwater, which a lot of people warned me about. They said, you know, yeah, oh God. I felt like such a genius. I bought it at like 21. I was like, we're back. And then this big volume followed me. So I was like, cool. And this is what everyone said. They said, watch that dilution, watch that vesting. We lost a key level. I might have to go dump my SBR. That's sad.
I don't know. That to me is like Alameda dumping. It's just.
I mean, but as a trader, like,
dumping.
yeah, if I want to be a long-term holder, but I don't really want to be a long-term holder of anything that has these dynamics in the token. I haven't even looked at them deeply myself, but literally like fail none, everyone I talk to. I actually chalked it up to just salt. I was like, yeah, well, they're all just salty because they look at what they've been dealing with, but I'm coming in fresh here with new buy volume. Well, you can't win them all, folks. So I'm probably like, what am I, like 45% underwater now from 22 cents?
Well, you know, one that you and Messi were talking about a lot, Curve. CRV.
Like,
let's take a look because that thing really ripped, and now it's pulling back too. Is it?
Yeah, I really like Curve because it's a yield play for me. Like I'm just sitting there staked on convex. I actually just grabbed my first chunk of yield because the fees are so stupid on Ethereum. I had to wait like 2 months, but yeah, I traded, you know, what I had been getting yield on, and I rotated actually back into more CVX CRV, which is kind of my plan for the first few months to build that position. And then this looks great to me. I mean, you got a huge consolidation sideways. You get a breakout with nice new uptick in volume through this trend line. Then you got to smack up into the chaos PRZ, picture perfect, like ting, 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 and then just drop into the PCZ. This is standard post breakout price action. I think in a bull trend, this is just what you want to see. Where do I get nervous? I don't think I do. I sized this bag so that it's just going to yield. And if it's like the usual staking scam where all your stake rewards end up not being worth the drawdown you suffered through the next year, it is what it is. But I've been red pilled on this one mid long term, and if anything, and it gets really gross, I'd be like, ooh, maybe I'll add a little. But
so if you're someone who kind of missed the breakout, is this somewhere to be dipping a toe, or are we not?
I think
really
it's
in the.
No, I think it's not a bad place again but you got to have that time horizon, and you've got to understand the fees. So if you're like, hey, you know, I've got $2,000 and I want to buy some of this. Oh, sorry, let me get this off here. Gross. If you've got the size and the time horizon, then cool. If you're going into this, I mean, it's like hundreds of dollars just to claim one of 3 rewards you get from CVX CRV. So, you know, if I stake CVX CRV on Convex, I am getting rewarded in 3 assets. CVX, CRV separately, and then 3 Curve, which is like a stable coin kind of thing. You can cash it out on Curve for USD or USDC. You're getting all those. So you're claiming all 3, and then to sell them all to whatever you wanted, like, oh, I wanted some dollars because of yield. I'm going to go pay my rent. You have to then trade all those on presumably Ethereum. So it gets expensive. So I actually have a different wallet that I had a smaller bag in, and it's just like dead money now. I'm not even going to pull that out. It's like an old one. It would take me a year to get enough rewards to make it worth, you know, cashing them out. So just keep that in mind. It's a bit of a whale token, I guess you could say. I'm not a whale, but I'm planning to hold it long enough that it'll be worth it. So, but yeah, this is definitely a level. I mean, look, it broke out of this consolidation, a very long one. And usually the longer the consolidation, the better for like the next leg. And then you have to consider all the dynamics that Messi's talked quite a bit about, that it's kind of deflationary now, net deflationary. And it's going multi-chain, right? I actually just used Curve on AVAX for the first time, threw some MIM into the 3 pool there. So it's 15% on a stable coin, why not? And yeah, look at this thing. Like, I mean, really nice resistance here. Now we flipped it, even resistance again. Navigated it here, broke out with size, smacked the Chaos PRZ, dumped back in, and now we're just sitting on it. So yes, long story short, I think if I was starting a new position, this is the first time since the breakout that I'd consider adding a little, or
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really nice level.
Foo Bear's asking, what do you guys thoughts on the AVAX love spilling over to FTM? We looked at FTM earlier. The chartists didn't love how it looked on the chart.
FTM fundamentally cool. Love the chain. Really good stuff. Long term, great. I'm waiting personally till like whatever it was, one something.
Yeah, 145, but he's not going to want to hear that. That's like
nobody wants to hear 145. But look,
30% lower.
Anyone who's in, if you happen to peak at your portfolio value at 348 at the highs, you're 41% down on that position. So I'm sure nobody loves hearing 27% more, but that's what I see. At least not that it'll go there. I just know what I'm going to do if it gets there, which is start my position. Because I never actually, I never owned much. I had a little for gas and I bought some Spirit. I think I still have a bag of Spirit. Let's go see how Spirit's doing. How's my one FTM bag? I think it's kind of coming down. Ooh, oof size large. It's not ideal. It's not what I wanted to see. I picked it up here and now I can sell it in profit.
That looks like an Alameda dump too.
3 cents. Oh my God. So I never really went back. I was like, I'm a holder. And then I looked, you check when you're a holder of something and you see it way up, you don't even think. So I was not watching this level. If I was a trader of this bag, this is a level where you're like, if we lose that, I'm getting the fuck out, as every single person did, apparently. Except me. I'm just going to keep holding it.
Look there's no fucking volume there either. It's like,
well, I'm just saying, I love when people just say like TA's a meme, because you can see this is a signal. This candle right here was a very strong signal, and now it's just bing, 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 bing. It's like, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know.
This
oh my God, it's a bear.
Like Mish P in the chat. This looks like an emissions,
Emissions are just too high. So, and that's why I'm kind of dumb, right? Because I bought it early. Just like, oh, this is cool. Like FTM, get a little exposure to one of their AMMs or whatever. But I'm not even staking it. I'm not even doing the farming. I'm dumb. And this one bag is like my one DeFi snafu this year that I'm just holding it. I went to look the other day and I was like, oh, lock here for 4 years. I don't know. It was all weird. I think I can get out break even now. Probably should, but I'm going to wait for a few green candles, whatever. I haven't looked at it in months.
Yeah.
2 months. So
let's make Alish Maizani happy. He's looking for GLCH. I think this is a low cap, quote unquote gem in his mind. I don't even know where we'll find it.
Chart GLCH. We're going to look it up here first.
GLCH.
Glitch protocol.
What is it?
Glitch protocol.
Glitch protocol. This one is for you, Ali.
Hey, it's a KuCoin. We can do it on a thing. GLCH.
Right, a KuCoin gem.
KuCoin is the new Binance.
Ooh.
Okay, wow. Look at us. All high and mighty, never heard of this thing. It's outperforming our whole portfolio of Spirit Swap.
Ali marking it.
Let's go give him a chaos level. Oh my God. Did we just smack chaos?
We did.
Oh, I love TA, guys. I'll sit and do TA with you all day.
This could be a good look at it. Came back down to, what is that? Your 26 or your 12 there?
This would be my 32.5 or 38 point whatever. This is it. Yeah, that's perfect. This is the stuff. This is the stuff of dreams. Run it to the take profit and drop it into the reload, or in this case the PCZ. Looks good. This is where I'd be getting paid. This is where I'd be. This is where I say I'd be getting paid. You guys watch the show enough to know that I often forget to set orders and actually get out. I fly to Lisbon and stuff, but this is the theoretical area to get paid, and this is the theoretical area to get bullish again. So pretty sweet bounce here. Let's be honest, we're well out of it already. It's like a nice, 15% move up, but So
See,
if
we
this
got
is, yeah, if this is,
looking one more. Let's see. Woo.
Yeah,
David
last one.
B
Okay.
looking at Woo.
yes, let's end with Woo. I actually took a tiny bit of profit today on my Woo position. First time I sold any since getting in on this breakout around 88 cents. Not because I think it's reached obviously any of the levels. It's just because I wanted some more firepower on Joe. But Woo looks great. And that's why I only sold like 22% of my bag, because it was decent profit. I wanted more Joe firepower, and Woo looks really good. I wasn't about to get rid of, let your winners run. This thing is winning.
What do you mean, Joe Firepower?
Well, I'm going to show you Joe. I think we'll end with Joe because I've just mentioned it now. But look, we're actually interviewing one of the Joe guys tomorrow on Frog Radio, so that's exciting. But like, we've got a SR flip here. We've got nice buy volume since this breakout. I think Woo has like a fee burning model too, like FTT and BNB. So I'm not in a rush to not be holding any more Woo, but I definitely had a pretty decent bag. So I took a third out of it, or a little less than that, and it looks good. It just looks really good. It looks like 253 is the next place where I'd be interested in paying myself a little bit. And it's just been respecting TA so well thus far. I don't see why it'll stop. Let's end with Joe, because if you don't know Joe is a fan favorite over on Avalanche, which is in price discovery. And versus AVAX, Joe's kind of coming into a support level. Like, be careful if you're trying to accumulate more AVAX. Maybe you're sitting there instead of Joe. But for me, this is a versus USD trade. And on stream, I tweeted this out today more as like a learning moment, because on stream last few weeks ago, right around here, I was talking about like how you can identify fib pong as it forms these triangles. And I'm happy to report that it has formed such a triangle. So we're either going to break straight from here, which is what I'm betting on with what I picked up today for some of that Woo that I told you about. And then I wrote this for my cousin. I said, worst case, one more little hoop-de-ha, and then I still think the probability is extremely high that it's going to be up, not down. Extremely high. I mean, 60, 70, 80%, but that's high enough probability-wise. And then where are we going? Oh, let's go 650. I think fib extension from here to here would be my kind of key target, and that could get really exciting. I mean, what we should do is pull up Joe metrics, because their user base or their TVL, I'm such a DeFi noob. Maybe I could find it on DeFi Llama. I don't have all those cool charts, but I did see like, the Joe, what is it? Joe Lend? Banker Joe. Banker Joe. Maybe I can find it here. Let's see. Let's go on DeFi Llama. That's the best I've got for this kind of stuff.
DeFi Llama, huh?
Trader Joe. Let's go see if we can find something here. Yeah, their TVL, like Banker Joe and all that, apparently it's just really shooting up. I'm so excited to talk to them tomorrow and interview them and do a Q&A. So if you guys want and you're curious about Joe, we'll be on Twitter tomorrow. Messi is not here today, but he'll follow his Twitter. And we're going to get these guys on. You can ask them questions and stuff, because Joe Fish or something, I talked to him today, but he's they're sharp guys. They must be, like, they made Trader Joe. So we're gonna learn from them. But yeah, TVL is just chugging higher, while price has been consolidating sideways. A lot of that probably to do with just farming rewards, balancing out that, presumably the buy pressure. But I'm farming on Joe. It's the first real thing that I've paid a lot of attention to as a farmer. It's fucking cool. And you can have like an ICE AVAX pair. Like, what a dream. Like ICE AVAX, I don't even care about impermanent loss. I'm like, give me more or either of the other, because in 1 year I expect them both to be higher. And all along the way I can churn out these fees, and it's a small pool, so I'm getting a lot of the fees. It's really, I'm a big fan of Joe. So it's not even close to me. Yeah.
Everyone loves Joe. Yeah, I mean,
it's not,
like the AVAX crew. It's just a cult favorite.
It's a cult classic. It's it's very memeable. They're big on the memes. It's not my biggest bag or anything. I'm not like a monstrous Joe holder. I certainly didn't get into that 100x from 3 cents or whatever. But I like it a lot. I like it as a user. UX is very, very smooth. So yeah, I think we can end with that. Let's get back to the studio. Let's get back over here. Really nice to get back on here with you. After getting to chill and see in person, get a good Rob hug in, get a dinner, get a meal. some drinks.
Always great.
Nice to
Always
just get you
great.
back in.
I'll tell you what's on my mind right now is,
Yeah.
you know, Bitcoin. I don't know. It's feeling. It's feeling weak. I don't know if it's people thinking that this Mount Gox trustee and that these coins over, like they think in 30 days are going to get sold.
Is there Gox FUD right now?
I've been reading it the last couple
You're
days.
holding out
I
on
think
this all
that
day.
shit's going to get gobbled up.
Yeah.
I don't even know when it's really going to hit.
Don't you think it would get OTC'd? Like for all the big entities that are sitting on the sidelines trying to buy Bitcoin, don't you think there'd be somebody that would reach out by now and just be like, sell your Bitcoin to us. Like we're trying to buy 5,000 off these miners. Like sell it to us.
They'd get a way better fill. I mean, way better. But it's more like Bitcoin's trying to rain on the parade here. It does. Listen, there's certain things that like when Bitcoin chills out after all-time highs, sometimes you get the greatest little perfect petri dish conditions for alts to pop
season.
off.
Yeah, dude. I still think it's alt season until it's not. I mean, look, all the alts that we looked at, the L1s, right? They all look a little short-term toppy, except for AVAX. But then look at all the alts guys were requesting today in the chat. There's ones that I'd ever look at, like Qcoin alts. They're going ham sandwich right now. Hundreds of percent up the last few weeks. There is an alt season happening right now.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mixed. Half my alt list is bloody red and half is green right now for today. And it, you know, like, and it feels like Bitcoin's under pressure.
You know who loves crab markets? Rebase tokens, which right now just means Ohm Forks, Time, Wonderland. Like, I'm excited for like how that will reflect. We're seeing it this week. Obviously, he's reflecting quite well. But when you have rip-roaring bulls and everything number go up, those rebases, those APYs, they become less sexy. And they're still risky, right? Whereas once things kind of get boring and sideways, it's like, give me that yield, give me that rebase. So I'm excited to see, like, if Bitcoin just wants to chill here or even just drip down a little slow. But I agree with you. I think make an all-time high and then chill the fuck out. That's alt season. That's alt recipe. So we should chill on the
I think if this thing dumps from here, 59 down to 55, 53, I think alts are going to get fucking murdered. On the initial, I think they'll get smoked. But we'll see. It doesn't mean that, you know, you get a couple nasty days and then all of a sudden alts are popping just because Bitcoin's chopping again, right? I mean, it's
typically, yeah. I mean, typically that's what you get. You get a Bitcoin way up, alts take a hit during that, but then during this, you know, the alts will outperform. On the way down, they outperform negatively. So be careful out there.
Yeah.
Again, end of year strategy wise, if it's been a good year, end of year, I like to get a little bit stable. I'm still not even 50% stables, but I've hit a number that I'm like, okay, I can sleep at night knowing that I took some profit and I've paid myself. I'm going to owe fuckload of tax on that, like percentage wise, Canadian. But it is what it is. And I've set my plan, at least have a plan, I guess, is the takeaway. And now I can comfortably take a little more risk back in the market with a trade bag when I'm paying attention. Somebody just asked if LTO was one that I charted. It was. I did chart it here during the mud in the summer. We picked some up here. I got bored of it and sold it here, made a profit, and now it's blown up. I noticed that the other day. I was like, oh, there it goes, like 76 cents.
I know what you loved there.
So,
I mean, look at the big volume, like all the big volume.
yeah, this is it.
So,
in fact, I picked it up just a little before that because it was guys in TRI that are really bullish on it fundamentally. They were just talking about like, oh, there's a reload zone. We're going to pick some up. And then this happened. And then, yeah, I loved it even more. But I got bored of it. You know, I mean, look at that. That's like August to friggin' November. Come on. What do you think I am? I'm going to go find something more exciting. I'm not the most patient trader. But I did other things with that money here, so I'm not too worried about this. It's nice to see because I know a lot of buddies of mine that are patient traders, and they are probably ringing the cash register today in what is undoubtedly the short reload zone, the nasty, slightly uglier ginger cousin of the reload zone. And sorry, nothing against gingers. It's a South Park. It's a South Park episode, guys. Relax. But yeah, that's the spot. They're getting
South
paid
Park,
today, so that's, I always like seeing that.
South Park loves you Canadians.
I don't know how to do the face, but they do like the Canadians. Okay, let's get out of here, man. I could sit and hang out with you all day. I know the dinner is needing to be cooked. I told somebody that I would help this evening, so I better get to it. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. If you haven't already and you liked the video, you can always click like. We got a nice boost last time we said that. Let's see if it works again. I'll be back Friday to do a lot more of this. Just kind of sit, chill, chart, try to get some music on that. One of our listeners let us use their SoundCloud. We still got copyright flagged, so I think you guys are sampling music that is also flaggable. But we're gonna keep searching. It's not a big deal. 1 video, 2 video monetization. I don't really care. But let's get on there on Friday, guys, at 3 p.m. Eastern. And whatever we do from now until then, as always, as ever, always play from a position of strength. Take care, guys.